Assalamu alaikum everyone, Exhibition Cadet Sabir from my channel Exhibition Cadet 9936. So today I will talk about why JF Thunders are being the talk of the town and how Pakistan Air Force is trying to sell as many as they can. Do we have that much of manufacturing capability available in Pakistan to give out so many JF Thunders? So first of all, we need to look. Most of the Afghanis and Indian accounts, they're projecting, oh, it's a cheap jet, it's a cheap Chinese jet. Well, the price, I would say, affordable. There's a difference between, let's just say, we say half full or half empty. So some people who say half empty glass, what are they called? And the people who say half full glass, they are seen differently. So one is a positive way of saying a thing and one is a negative way of saying a thing. Differently, we are the rivals, so they're going to use the negative ways on us. So they call it a cheap jet. No, it's an affordable jet with all the qualities that are available on its competitors, which are Gripens or Tycoons or Rafales, or even, let's count the non-existing LCA Tejas too. So JF Thunder gives all these characteristics which any 4.5 generation aircraft has, and the price is $25 million to $40 million. So which one would you buy? Would you go for an expensive one or the one which you can do the same things which you're going to use the other aircraft for, and yet you achieve your targets? So basically, JF Thunder is for the countries like those who are struggling in their non-security economy as well, just like Pakistan. We have food problems, we have water problems, we have a lot of economical problems, but we don't have security problems, and we have proven that in 2019 as well, and now in 2025, May 7th. So our target areas or the countries which we are looking for to getting into this deal are like Azerbaijan, Turkey, Libya, Iraq, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Sudan, you name them. So those countries, they cannot buy a Rafale, which is worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. But definitely, if they want to get the same results, if they're not in an active war like Pakistan, Pakistan is always being threatened by the Western neighbors. And we have proven that by using JF Thunders, we can do perfectly well. We can fulfill their needs. And you know what I mean by that. In 2019, Jf17 was active part of defending the Pakistani skies, and many open source media claims that Abhinandan's jet was actually down by JF Thunder, not by F-16. F-16 shot down Su-30. So again, it was the basic part of that operation too. And on May 7th, we have seen what was reported on May 10th, though, that it carried a what you call a CM400 AKG cruise missile from air-to-ground missile, and it hit S400. Now, S400 is the best air defense system in the world at the moment, and it's going into that one with that kind of speed, like 910 kilometers per hour, and then you are getting into that that machine which is made to kill you. Then you are on a suicide mission. But yet, our pilot, he completed that mission, and evidence is all around in the world, and the countries we're talking to, they are talking about that. They know about the capabilities of Jf17, and that's why they are interested in buying that one. They don't want to go for Tejas or Tycoons or Gripens or Rafales. One, they're too expensive, and second, well, some of them are not that battily tested. Like Rafales had a 0 record of being destroyed, but Rafale was against whom? Against Houthis in Yemen. That's it. The air forces that practically had nothing. I mean, they couldn't even fly, Dragonfly, those kind of air forces. But Jf-17s against Indians' Rafales, they have shown their particular role. Let me give you a simple example. We call it grinding in a dogfight. Now, the previous dogfights were the ones which I was trained for. They were visually, you have to see an aircraft and then you have to visually lock it and then visually fire the missile. But you have a wingman. What's the job of a wingman? So normally, no matter the short range air-to-air missiles or now the long range, the BVRs, beyond visual range missiles, they work on the same principle that from height, from the maximum height, they can go further and they can be more lethal. Reason being less air resistance and less polluted air once you go away from the surface of the earth, right? So that's why they have the optimal conditions to hit your enemy. BVRs, they work on the same principle. If you are closer to the surface of the earth, then once you shoot a missile and the missile's capability or the range is like, let's say 150 kilometers, it's never gonna hit at 150 kilometers away target. The reason being the air density, the pollution, the resistance against the missile is going to be more, so it will not reach to its maximum range. But once it's shot from 30,000 feet or 40,000 feet, definitely it's going to be faster and it's going to be more lethal and it's going to be more accurate. So what a wingman does in normal dogfights, that it stays at your wing. So once you lock your enemy, of course there are evasive maneuvers. The evasive maneuver is that because the missile intends to go towards a certain target, and that target is not, for example, the missile is the aircraft is going this way, and missile is not going to hit this way. It's going to detect its probable, next location and aim for that one. And then they're going to meet at a certain point, and then this explosion happens. So the best way to evade a missile is that if height permits, you go into a deep dive, a straight dive, or maybe in a negative angle dive, so that the missile coming at your tail predicts his point of impact with you, even below ground level. And then you get out of that dive quickly. And missiles, they don't have those big wings like aircrafts, and they don't have those maneuverability which the aircraft has. So it's definitely going to hit the ground. That's how you evade the missile. And in BVR, it's the same tactics. So what does the wingman do? So once you're on a certain height, which is suitable for you, and from there you lock your enemy's aircraft, doesn't matter what height you are at. Once you lock your enemy's missile, the enemy system, or the ground radars, they also get active right away, and they find most of the time there's infrared or is the heat seeking. So once you've shot a missile down, they would track you down and they will send their air defense systems to counter this threat that is just being on the radar. So once you shoot the missile, you crank. Cranking is that you move left and right towards the direction of the missile, 30 degrees this way or 45 degrees that way. And then you get into a dive from your height and you go down directly. And if you're at the bottom, if you're close to the earth, after shooting the missile, you take almost a vertical climb up and shoot up into the sky so that you evade those missiles coming at you. This is the time when your wingman takes part. So if you were close to the earth and you fired a missile and you go up, the wingman is going to target the same aircraft, because once that aircraft knows that it has gotten, because there are the warning systems installed on the aircrafts too, so he's going to do his evasive maneuvers as well. So if he was elsewhere at the ground level, he's going to go up right away, and that's where your wingman comes and locks him from the top. because now he's doing the evasive maneuvers and he cannot be in a position to strike you. So your wingman is on top now. You did your evasive maneuver. You came back to the ground. Now your wingman shoots a missile, and your enemy or the rival, he tries to evade the missile, and he goes down again, and that's where you are again. Right? So this is called cranking. It goes in a loop until you get a perfect hit. That's why on May 7th, you have heard that they found some pieces of PL-15s on the ground. Yes, there are many occasions when actually missiles are fired and they don't hit the target. So where are they going to go? They're not going to stay up in the air and, waiting for the enemies to come in. No. So this is what the wingman does. So during 2019, it was not that big war. It was just one side came in, and then the second side, Pakistan went in, and that's how it was. Very short war. So we can't say the exact role of Jf Thunder. It was Block 2 back then. What kind of role did they play? But in 2007 and 2010, we know exactly what Jf17 did in grinding. How much did it help J-10Cs and all the other aircrafts in the area to do this cranking and grinding and cranking and grinding, that eventually it could have made a kill, because that was also loaded with PL-15Es. But it was the orders of the chief of Pakistani Air Force to use J-10Cs to get these kills. So only J-10Cs had the order to kill. The rest of the aircraft, unless J-10C cannot accomplish the things, then they were asked to, fire their missiles. But this is the role of Jf17, and it's battle tested against a huge air force, or one of the world's biggest air forces in the world. And yet it came out triumph and victorious. So this is the market of Jf17. It is battle tested, and it is war analyzed, and it's war proven too. Now, we don't care what Indians and Afghans think. Why? They should also care about us too. We have a commodity. We have a thing to be, sent into the public and to have it sold. And for that, anytime the buyer would come in, he would ask us, okay, now there are a few things which buyers see. They see the outlook of the aircraft, they see the functions of the aircraft, they see what kind of instruments are installed on the aircraft, what kind of avionics are there, what kind of electronics are there, how is the engine, what's the engine's power, how is it going to support all this, all the spare parts and everything. So they, just like we were buying a car. So once they are convinced with the first four categories of the engine and the functionality and what this aircraft can give you, then the last thing they come and check is because that's why the fighter pilots are being bought. They're not to carry passengers from one place to another. They have to fight in a battlefield. And Jf Thunder, its capabilities are recorded digitally, because every Jf17 is equipped with the cameras. Whatever missile they fire, where it goes, everything is, but that's not made public. It is made public only on special occasions, like the Air Force Day, September 7th. Some of the visuals from Mirage's H-4 bombs, once they dropped them on Indian bases back in 2019, February 27th, well, they were shown, just a few clips. But this is because Pakistan the strategic position of Pakistan is, very critical. And we have a bigger enemy or rival on our western border. So we don't want to disclose our all the tactics and strategies. So that's why some things are withheld and they're not shown in the public. But to the buyer, of course, they are shown. Indians know very well, their Air Force knows very well the capabilities of our Air Force. They, just like we know about them, whenever their aircraft take off, whatever heading they go to, or what aircraft that is, what kind of payload it's carrying, they also know about us. They know exactly what has happened to them on May 7th and May 10th, but they cannot tell it to their public. We also cannot tell it to our public. And I told you the reason. We don't want to disclose so many things into the public, and so do they not want to do it too. So if you see, they're totally quiet on their so-called Operation Sindoor, but Pakistan is still giving out some information. But to a buyer, definitely it would be an open book, despite that maybe that's a sting operation, and India has planted some of the buyers, just to see what kind of technology they're using. No, sir. Whenever a country sells anything out in the public, it downgrades it, and it knows the reciprocals, and it knows the countermeasures to that thing as well. Like if they don't have the countermeasures for that, then they don't even sell it in the public. For example, Chinese J20. There's no export version of that one. American F-22, the Raptor. There is no export version of that. Why? Because the cutting edge technology used in those aircrafts is not even countermeasured by themselves. That's why they don't sell it to other countries. So even J-35s, that's a better aircraft than J-22, as said, but the export version is downgraded. So if the American F-35 comes against the Israeli F-35, definitely the American one is going to win. The reason being, there are downgraded things on this one. And same is the case with B-52 bomber, the B-2 bomber, I think, the one they used against Iran. That technology, is there an export version of that one? So in other words, the export version of anything, of any aircrafts, means that country has the countermeasures to that. So Pakistan is selling JF Thunders Block 3. That means that we have some things up our sleeves. That's why we are selling all these new aircrafts and selling it to so many countries. Aren't we afraid of the technology being stolen or used against us in the future? Well, the countries we're selling to, they're really far away from us, so we don't have any fear of. I mean, Bangladesh is the closest one, but still, there is around thousands of miles distance between us, and that was basically main reason why Bangladesh became a new country, because our borders were not together. The only country in the world whose borders were not together, apart from the different islands, if you talk about them, that's a separate issue. There's an ocean between them, but we had the rival land between us. There are many other stories, reasons, facts, apart from that, but this one was one of them. So Bangladesh is not going to attack us with Jf17s. Of course, we are safe on that side. So Pakistan is fully prepared to export these Jf17s, and we are not worried about that we would have shortage of our aircrafts. No, we don't have shortage of our aircrafts at all. Recently, Pakistan and Turkey are working on the unmanned vehicles, like the UAVs, we used to call them, or the loitering vehicles. And F-7PGs are going to be retired very soon. So Pakistan is considering of converting them into unmanned aircrafts. One. Second, Mirages have been upgraded. And we know that ASAR radar has been installed on them, and they can carry the Rod and the Tamur missiles too. Two. Third thing, we are not in a hurry to get F-35s from J-35s from China. Reason being, Indians have not been able to even get closer to any deals about Su-57 from Russia, or I mixed them up, F-35s from the US, and Turkey is not going to sell them their fifth generation aircraft. Their other option is South Korea, and South Korea is also in line with the US, so forget it. If the US says no, then South Korea is going to say no. And no other countries are making fifth generation aircraft. With China, excuse me, please. You can only copy Orion robots, but you can't copy what China has. So that was all my take on JF-17s. Are going to be a best sell, and Pakistan can afford to sell them because we don't have any obligations on getting induction of the new aircrafts. As soon as we have this necessity, if India from somehow gets a jackpot and gets a lot of squadrons into their Air Force, Pakistan knows how to accelerate everything. And we would get to our goals faster than the rivals or the enemies even think. PAF Zindabad, Pakistan Zindabad. Allah Hafiz.